Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Captain's Chat. My name is Joe Delagrave. My guest today is Sarah Leonard, and I am back off of training camp. You got to see Axel and Crowbar my last Captain's Chat, which was hilarious. But I've got a jug of coffee here, a big giant jug of coffee, just trying to stay awake, trying to rock the day out. Got home late last night, but so I'm excited to have Sarah on. I love having women in our sport on. It is an untapped territory. I feel like still we have amazing women in our sport. Sarah is a head coach for Shepherd Smash, which is out of Shepherd Center in Atlanta, Georgia, the prestigious spinal cord injury unit there. And so, of course, we all know Talbot from Shepherd and all the boys and girls there. But Sarah's been head coaching for 7 years, I believe. She's a physical therapist and is all over the place at Shepherd doing PT, whether it's seating clinics or evals and all that good stuff. So we're going to have her on and rock and roll this. And so bear with me if I say something silly today. We'll see what happens. Sarah, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me. Look forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. So, and then you said that Sarah said there might be a cameo appearance by her dog.
Yeah, Kona. Yeah, it's her world. I'm just living in it. So we'll see what happens.
That's amazing. Well, hey, how are you doing? How has the last year been for you? I feel like this has been a pandemic coronavirus show. And so we always kind of start this off with like, how has your world been the last year? Crazy. It's been a year since the world changed.
Yeah. I think most people that are tuning in know I'm originally from the North. So I say my year started out on St. Patrick's Day. Tom Brady left New England and they closed all the Dunkin' Donuts, which is, basically how the world ends where I'm from. So,
yeah.
That's how the pandemic started, and it just got weirder from there.
That's such an interesting take because from a sports situation, and the Northeast. So, are you from the Boston area? Are you from
an hour south? So okay. I pretty much bleed Boston.
Boston. And Boston's like championship city. At least it's been for the last 20 years. And Tom Brady leaves, and then coronavirus comes. And wow, like I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. And on St. Patrick's Day, which is, more important than anything up north, there's a bunch of Irish folks. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's like insane. A time continuum problem right there.
It's like this cannot be real. Please go back to normal. Please have Tom Brady come back. Did you and the rest of New England Patriots Nation, did you guys cheer for him and Gronkowski during the Super Bowl?
It hurt. It did. But yeah, I mean, you got to love Tom Brady. He did so much for the team. Yeah. It's kind of like, I compare it. I'm kind of a goofy person, so I apologize. But, I say like, you ever had that ex and you see him do well and you're like, oh man, great for them. But at the same time, you're like, that kind of hurt though. Like, you're like, I'll never leave you poorly. But
yeah. Like that, when you see that other person rolling through the mall, you kind of want them to look a little raggedy. You want like, for sure.
Championship and like all your touchdowns are to Gronkowski. I was like, ooh,
yeah. Gronk, you got Gronk back. Gronk spiking touchdowns in the end zone again. It's like
Antonio Brown, who was with us the year before. I mean, there was no better way to basically.
Yeah, for sure. What that's because I'm a Packer fan, and so when Brett Favre had his whole deal and then went to the Jets, it was like whatever. But when he went to Minnesota, I grew up with Brett Favre. I love Brett. I was a Vikings fan for a year. I know a lot of Packer fans weren't, but I was just like, I love Brett Favre, man.
Yeah,
like,
it's hard.
And then so it's hard. But then you find a new guy.
Done so much for you, for me, it's your whole childhood. So
yeah, totally. And then you find, but then you fall in love with Aaron Rodgers. So maybe New England will have something. So I don't think Cam's the answer, but I think at some point maybe there's going to be.
There's a few projections on the board. We'll see.
Yeah.
New England does love Jimmy G, so maybe he'll come back. Who knows?
Oh yeah, get the Jimmy Garoppolo song going again.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so tell me a little bit about Shepherd and like how that whole operation went through the last year. Like when you get new spinal cord injury patients, like how is that? Well, I mean,
I honestly have to credit our medical director. They had a great plan throughout. They were able to keep everything well controlled, and I think staff was just super committed. We were, we understood what was going on. We understood the importance. So, we had a one visitor policy. Visitors get tested, patients get tested before they come. So yeah, I mean, there was a little change in terms of like certain staff because we have extra services we provide, like activity based and things. There weren't as much or as many people moving across floors that we could avoid. But yeah, it's been our like own little world. It's kind of weird. It's sad too because we were used to people coming down and seeing rugby in the gym, and no, Chuck, we're not getting
hey, no one wants your massage boy.
Yeah, no. I don't want the money. Shoot, we don't do that kind of money in New England. But yeah, no, I mean, it kind of just rolled on. It was a little scary in the beginning because you're like, oh my God, you're in healthcare. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
New patients are asking a ton of questions. But I think it's been pretty chill since then. I think people come in and before families even come to Shepherd, they know what our policies are. They know what our expectations are. So I think admission staff does a good job at, making sure they're at least comfortable with the situation we have.
Yeah. Is there with the whole deal and like there's a lot of isolation, there's a lot of protocol, there's a lot of PPE, like what has been the rehabilitation process like for some of those? Obviously like there's HIPAA law, but like in general, like has that been something that you guys have worked through to try to provide? Like normally you have Shepherd's not like a wealth of resources. What's that look like?
Yeah, I think that they've done a good job. I mean, people wear masks in therapy, therapists and patients, as long as they can, medically. It's safe. There's a lot more one-on-one. So that's one thing we thankfully didn't have to compromise is staffing. So Shepherd really committed to making sure everyone kept their job, number one, but also, if we need to have extra staff in the building to make sure that sessions that used to be groupable were now.
Where'd she go? Sarah?
There we are. Okay, cool. I was going to say our sports director really stepped up because typically he's coordinating, all the sports that we have going on, 11 plus teams. So now he's running one-on-one sessions with patients in the gym. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, so they're rather where you can't really do a rugby group anymore. You're getting rugby one-on-one with a sports director. You might get Talbot pop in as a peer mentor, and you get to do a session like that because fortunately he's on staff, so he's in the building. So yeah, I mean, can I say it's exactly the same? No. I wish they were going on all the fun outings. Like I wish they were doing all that cool stuff. Those are starting again, but everything's just slow to come back.
Yeah, for sure. So with kind of transitioning into team sports, have you guys done anything to kind of stay together? I know on the international level, USA level, we've done a lot of Zoom stuff. We did a lot of game nights and just trying to stay together. And when everyone's isolated, what you guys do anything fun?
So I know there's guys that like push together, they're part of each other's bubble, circle, whatever it is outside of Shepherd. But beyond that, a couple guys were we got people constantly doing like marathon training and posting mileage. And, Houston came out with that really good competition in the beginning of like, the workout thing. So our guys jumped on board with that. Otherwise, we've been pretty quiet because we work under an organization. I can't maybe do as much as I'd like because we're following the guidelines of Shepherd.
Yeah.
We're the next to roll out. So I think if we waited any longer, I would start to get annoying. I'm definitely ready, with Coach Gumby in the beginning of quarantine. We were doing that Zoom, coaches camp. So
yeah, that was interesting. That was cool to see.
It was great. It was a little past my bedtime. I'll say that.
You guys were rocking that late because he would have meetings with us. And then G would jump on with you guys, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna fall asleep on the coaches on there, man. No,
he was great. I mean, I appreciated it, but now I have so much to translate. I'm like, we gotta, it's time to start doing something.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was amazing to get back into camp. I feel like everyone was looking at us going like, oh, we wish we were doing that. And then you got the crazy Florida guys that are doing their thing. And
yeah. Down in
then,
Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay ruins everything. That is the moral of my story. I'm envious. I want to play basketball.
You want to win Super Bowls, and they took your best players.
All in jest. I love those guys, but yeah, it seems like Tampa Bay is the place to be this year.
Yeah, no kidding. My goodness. And everyone's just like, we love the Buccaneers. Like, you didn't love the Buccaneers for like the last whatever. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about your background and how you found this crazy sport. You never know how people do it. Obviously, as a PT, maybe you did, like, was that through clinicals, or was that like, how did this happen?
I have a pretty crazy story.
All right. Yeah.
I knew I wanted to be a PT. I was going to school. I was in a sports medicine field study in Australia. So
hold on. So where were you going to school at?
Connecticut. I went to Connecticut University. So stateside. And then I was in Australia. I thought I'd work professionally. At the time, only the New York Giants and the LA Dodgers employed females. And if you know how much I love sports, that wasn't going to work out. But no, I was in Australia and I was dipping my feet in the water with able body rugby. And I blew up my knee. So I got put in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And the next day, so I wasn't doing all the fun stuff. I didn't climb the Sydney Bridge. Our next sport we were supposed to learn, we were going through all their sports, was murder ball.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there and I was like, wow, like this is something else. I came back from Australia. I was like, you know what? Different perspective. I got put on the sidelines in a chair and got introduced to a hell of a sport where people were way more motivated than some of the Division I guys I'd been working with in college.
Yeah.
So I just went to my advisor and I said, I want to drop my second major. I wasn't going to do athletic training anymore. He said, why? I said, I'm going to do neuro. It's like, what do you mean you're going to do neuro? Not a lot of people switch from ortho to neuro. It's not like a common thing. I said, I want to work with spinal cord injury. I want to coach murder. He's like, I'm not really sure that's a career path. And I was like, that's fine. But I just jumped it right then and there. I was probably 19 years old. And I was like, we're doing spinal cord injury and I'm going to find some way I'm going to work with that sport. So, I showed up in DC on a clinical, MedStar. So that's a great organization as well. I think my first week, I was like, there's a flyer, they want volunteers. I was like, how do I do that? Ashley Braymore was the coach. She's not coaching anymore, but she was the coach at that time. And, I was still a student. I was like, I'm gonna start volunteering. So I started volunteering with them back in 2013.
Okay.
And same thing. My first week at Shepherd, I was like, great. It's great to have this job. I'm, very thankful, very fortunate, but let's go downstairs and figure out how I'm gonna start working with the rugby team. So I always say
amazing.
What I like the most about my job. It's certainly not the lucrative part.
Yeah. Is this mom? Is this sister? What is this?
That's my Aunt Karen. Yes, they're back in
Aunt Karen.
Yeah.
What's up, Karen? Thanks for being on the show. Yeah, that's a fun story. That's really neat. Yeah,
it's pretty
Australia.
I made my whole
injury. How did you bust up your knee?
I was a weekend warrior at that time. I was just trying to show off, and I didn't even leave the ground. I went to sprint, and it just snapped. It was done.
That's it? ACL, MCL?
Yeah. Yep.
The whole thing. Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy. Okay, so then you've been down in Shepherd for 5 years now, and and coaching their team. Man, how hard is it? How hard is it to work with this guy right here, Mr. Talbot Kennedy?
OMG. The fact that both of us are still alive. It's something to be said. We've had our ups and downs. He keeps me on my toes for sure.
Yeah.
But no, I got nothing but love for Talbot. He's great.
Yeah, good dude.
He'll drive me the most crazy, but at the same time, you can't like frown at his passion at all.
No, he's a passionate guy. The choo-choo train keeps running. T-Pain in the hizzy. Has he taken you fishing?
He is not.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Probably because I have no chill. I'm like 0 or 100. So like,
Yeah. Fishing's probably
fishing.
not. You need to do you probably need to do like the Mississippi mudwater fishing where they stick their arm uh in the catfish.
Catfish hole.
I think it's called noodling. Talbot, is that called noodling? Anyone know? Comment
Yeah.
on the show. I think it's called noodling. Where they just stick, maybe that's your stick. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I'll try anything once. Is usually
My kids and my niece and nephew call me Little Nibbles because I never catch any fish when we go camping. that's my camping nickname. Yeah, it's terrible. But yeah, it is what it is. So I'm correct. Thank you, Noah. Hillbilly hand fishing, noodling.
He's a reliable guy on my team. Noah's reliable.
Okay, because I think hillbilly hand fishing is a derogatory term, Michael Henley. Congrats on the new. I think he had a new baby. Congrats on that.
Maryland, though. I feel like they do that up there.
Yeah, I think so too. Talbot says yeah, so we're good. All right, cool. Fishing expert right there. And always, yeah. Hey, we got to plug handy accessories. Get your handy accessories. Use my code Joe Delagrave to get 0% off because I don't have a code. I should have a code, my goodness, but no. Get over to Handy. It's pretty awesome to see that. Anyways, let's back to Sarah. So you're coaching wheelchair rugby. Mm-hmm. You saw Murder Ball. Like, what was it that kind of drew you to it, and what are some of maybe like the misconceptions that going into working with these with the spinal cord injury population that you had? Did you have any? Like, what was that like?
Misconceptions. I think I doubted my ability because I work with athletes. It's hard to adapt sometimes. Like if you're so like narrow-minded in your thinking, like if you're in tunnel vision, which I think a lot of people coming out of school technically are very tunnel vision and kind of what they know, which isn't wrong. Your textbook, right? So it's kind of hard for people to wrap their head around, people can play murder ball. People can get hit, sometimes I'm more at risk of getting injured when I get in a chair against you guys than you guys would be. I've never actually had a player get truly injured. So, there's a lot of hesitation towards the sport. When I've been an inpatient therapist for mostly of my career. So meeting moms and their kids.
Well, and you've seen the worst of the, like you see us at our worst. We're at like, we literally can't do anything. Like there's like, well,
that's another misconception, right? It's like, no, we can go get in a chair and the mom be like, oh no, I don't, that's dangerous. And I'm like, the worst has already happened.
Right.
A lot of the guys, and especially when I got to DC, they're like, what's going to happen? I break my neck. That was like the thing that they would always tell people. And it's like, it's true. You've been through your worst. So, it's only up from here. So it's about, do you want to maximize your potential? What do you want from your life? Actually, it's like what I tell people.
So did you, you said like doubted your own ability. Are you talking about just from like being able to coach people through with injuries that obviously you haven't been through, but like what did you mean by that?
Just to be flexible. To adapt to each person, to meet them where they're at. Because I think there's such a human component of it. And, being a coach, I'm kind of military and kind of my upbringing and background. So there's a rigidity there. And, there are going to be people that challenge you, both personality and just individually. So you got to be
100%.
Like each person's at a different point. And if you can't meet them where they're at, then, you're not the best for them. So I think, I always say like I get more out of my career than I give people. Everyone's so thankful for what they get from you and, what you give to them. But it's like, no, like, I'm learning more from you. You're teaching me more. I'm growing more because of the people that I meet. So I enjoy that part.
Yeah, that's awesome. What are your goals in wheelchair rugby? You guys won D2 champs. You ready to, are you going to, go after like the back-to-back, or are you going to go after getting back into D1? And what's the deal
the goal is always D1. There's a ranking system, so Division II championship is technically 9, right? It's really great.
I've won a D2 championship.
It was great.
It was great to be in that environment, and you play. It's a tough championship game, right? But then you, as a competitor, you're like, well, it's 9th place.
Yeah.
Is what, yeah.
It's true. But you enjoy it. Yeah. You soak it up. I would love, I mean, based on where our team's at, I do think right now potentially we're D2, but as a coach, that's not my goal. I want to develop all my players to the best of their potential. We got usually about 18 people that come out. So
wow,
making sure I'm getting, So
18 people, how many quit because you're so military rigidity and they're just like, I'm not going to deal with Sarah?
None for the most part. Some people have moved on to like other teams, when we opened up the rule for people to travel basically to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, the guys, I can joke around too. It's no big deal, but they know at the end of the day that I want to win. And I think most of the guys appreciate that, messing around when we show up. So,
I mean, if you're not trying to win the game, what are we doing here? Like, obviously there's other things that you get from playing the game, but when you're playing, you play to win the game. Yeah.
That's the first year head coach.
First year. Corey. Oh, Corey, I haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah.
Blast from the past.
Yeah. When I was coaching, helping coach DC, Corey came and stayed with me because she was international on our team. So.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. That's great. Good to see her on the show. So D1 and developing your players and getting all that, and you've got possibly 18 people.
Yep.
Going to be coming out when you guys open practice back up and all that good stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What's your take on women in the sport? Speaking of Corey and Sarah, and obviously we have Liz on the team right now. And we've had, women in the past, Carrie Morgan, and Emily Shyrock. I always mess up her last name. Shyrock. I'm sorry if I mess that up, Emily, if you're listening, but probably not. But anyway, I had her on the show. But yeah, women in the sport, it's a co-ed sport. A lot of times they get it wrong internationally. They're like, oh, men's wheelchair rugby. And it's like, well, no, it's co-ed sport. But what's your take on that? Where do you see the sport evolving as far as women go?
I mean, I think it's great. You honestly have a great staff of women. So I think there's far more than just the players.
We are loaded with women on our staff, and they're amazing.
Talent. I think it brings an essential dynamic, to be really honest. I'm excited to see what Liz does, because to put her on the court and what she offers, but also I think it's important too, because I have so many young girls that come out, they're just newly injured, and just to see that, to have that potential is a big deal. Of course, they're obviously elite athletes. You can't take that away from them. They might not look as big and strong, and I think that's the biggest obstacle. That's the biggest mountain for them to climb, is showing their dynamic use in the sport of rugby, obviously. But with that 0.5, that's huge. When you're thinking about rugby as a chess match, all the great coaches I've ever liked and looked at, they treat the sport like it is truly strategic. And I appreciate that about Gumby too, talking about percentages, talking about, every little edge. A great female is a great edge for a team to have. So I'll be excited. Liz is going to be great, I think. Little nod to her there. But to see her hopefully on the stage of USA and at Olympics, that's big. And that's big for every girl that gets newly injured, young girls that get injured that can see that potential.
Yeah, no, totally. It's interesting with her too, because if we took pictures or like videos of all these different women, and she's not the fiercest, she's not the strongest, she's not the loudest, you go like, what? She does like whiskey and beer.
Does she? Okay.
So, yeah. But no, she is, I think, an amazing example that there's a number of different body types that can play, a number of different personalities that can play. And I think seeing that from her is going to only help maybe get some other women that are sitting on the sidelines and going, should I do this? Can I do this? And looking at her and saying, like, yeah, she's 100%. Playing at the highest level, And so, women like Mandy from Richmond, who was on the show as well. So like being able to see that there's a path forward, Dr. Cottingham and on all his like women's camps that are pretty amazing. Man, you guys, Dr. Cottingham, you guys got to hook up and be able to get you down there to military
Shoot,
rigidity. Yeah. So, but no, I think it's only going to grow. I would love at some point to see wheelchair rugby be able to be like wheelchair basketball, where there's men's and women's. But right now with co-ed, I think it's pretty neat to see the inclusivity and inclusiveness, I guess is the word. I don't know. Like I said, I'm tired. So,
and I've always said, I mean, obviously I'm a female growing up playing a lot of sports and understanding, like, you know, there needs to be an entry point for the sport, if that makes sense, when it's like all women. So, you know, right now for you guys to be on the stage, you are competing at the highest level, hopefully for gold. It's important for the men to succeed, the co-ed realm to succeed before we put women's sports forward. Because I feel like if we jump too soon and we don't get the sport, then, you know, it dies right there, and you never want to see that. You know, you want to make sure when you expand and, you know, when people are, you make the right foot forward.
Exactly. And it's not there yet. Like there's the numbers just aren't there yet, I don't think. But I think it's having camps. It's having maybe the Wonder Women teams. It's having, you know, those little nuggets, those little pockets where maybe women are going to be more likely to join up or sign up for a tournament if they see that it's going to be all women. And I don't know, like just, and maybe it bridges my next question and it talks to the sport. Obviously I love wheelchair rugby and being able to play at elite level. But for me, like the most important years of playing probably were when it was a rehabilitative instrument for me, where it took me from being this ex-athlete into figuring out I could play a sport again, losing a bunch of weight, blah, 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 blah. The story goes on. But what are your thoughts on that? And I think just for having a space for women to be able to talk about those personal issues that I'm sure you've heard in the locker room type of deal, from a women's point of view, that maybe they don't get to talk about as much when it's just them and then a bunch of dudes. But yeah, I guess maybe two questions there. What's that like for the women's side of it? And then just rehabilitative instrument in general with wheelchair rugby and your thoughts on that.
So I think rugby is one of the best instruments possible. I mean, in any sport, anything that you can get into where you link up with people who have been there. Because the reality is, you know, as much, whatever anybody thinks about me as a therapist, they may love me, they may struggle with my personality, but at the end of the day, you know, I go home from rehab, right? And, you know, I walk out of there. And that's not exactly the best example. Whereas if you have somebody like Talbot, you know, we have a player, Zach, who also works at Shepherd, who has succeeded in going to college. And, you know, Dwayne's an extremely successful businessman, and Nate Harmon's phenomenal at woodworking. You know, to have all these people that are living life and truly succeeding in areas that, you know, you don't even believe possible sometimes when you're a patient. I think it's important. So whether you love rugby, whether you come down to just push, whether you come down to just chat on the sidelines, I always tell patients, you know, it's an open door for whatever you want us for. You know, it's a great instrument, and those are the essential people in your life. You know, I might be somebody who helps you out the door, but to know the people that have been there and are succeeding and, you know, walking that walk, you know, that's important. No pun intended there, but, you know, it's different, I think, you know, as much as I love what I do.
That's just a phenomenal physical therapy line right there. You guys need to walk the walk. What a jerk. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think you're absolutely right. Like it's for whatever they want the sport to be. And I love what you said about seeing other people do different things in life. That's what it's all about. Like if you want to be, you know, Paralympic wheelchair rugby player, like at the end of the day, like great, that's awesome. But like finding your passion and purpose in life and using wheelchair rugby to find that, I think is amazing. You know, like Jeremy Hannaford that I always talk about is, you know, some quad welding, like he's like a welder using it, like that's insane. Or opening up your own business, or woodworking, like you said, or business, but like it doesn't matter. But I think rugby kind of gets you back into life in that way for sure. So I love that open door. That's amazing. Yeah.
I think it's a great community too. I mean, you mentioned the women, and if you come down on our sideline, I think the guys are great to any of the girls who show up, but certainly there's a locker room talk that isn't really conducive to women or welcoming to everyone, we'll say. But you have people like Rachel Chapman, you know, like she's playing in Raleigh, and there are many patients that I've had that said, hey, you know, this is what you're going through. You're not yet married. Rachel's story is, very popular, very famous.
What
she's been through, and she's a great person, and she's additionally playing rugby. So, you still have the people, even though they might not be in Atlanta, even though they might not be like right beside you. Rugby's opened up like a whole new community, a whole new, like for me as a therapist, I have so many resources to offer people. Or at least great connections for people to make.
Yeah. Great time to throw up your email. Sarah.leonard@shepherd.org. I think I put that on there right.
You did.
Reach out if you have questions. Reach out if you're a woman that maybe wants to get connected with other SCI women that maybe have answers for you or know what you're going through. I think it's huge to see Sarah.leonard@shepherd.org. Definitely reach out to Sarah and to be able to get hooked up in that way, for sure. Coach had a question.
Oh, awesome.
And you're signed into Kelly's. All right. Okay. It's Coach here. What was your favorite game to coach so far in your career and why? Favorite game and why?
Why? Nationals. We played DC leading up to headed into the championship game.
All right. So you're playing the old team.
Playing the old team with an old coworker coaching the team, some of my old players. And there was just, there was always a back and forth. And
was there a lot of trash talking going on?
A little bit, I would say.
Yeah. From like you and the other coach, or
no, it was more the player.
Okay.
But you got Paul. He's one of the best trash talkers I know.
Paul Hopkins.
Oh yeah,
my man Paul.
He trash talks.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
But no, it was just they were always ranked higher than us, and I felt very strongly that we were playing D2, but honestly, if we played our best rugby, we maybe should have played D1. However, we didn't make it through your team, honestly, was why we ranked in D2 that year. We played you guys in Tampa, and you just, I couldn't figure out
the Minnesota team.
Oh yeah.
That
was frustrating. That was one of my least favorite games as a coach. I was like, man, I can't figure this out.
Probably so because it was me, Kyle, Eddie, and Ryan, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I probably skillfully taking down me with an 8-person bench. Yes. And I had James. I had weapons, but y'all.
Yeah. We some old dogs with some old tricks. Yep. That's what we had. She loves coaching against me.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man, Paul. Coach is calling you out, Paul. Calling you out, Paul. Okay, so back to the game. So you're playing DC. Is it the crossover to get to the championship, or where?
Yep. Okay, we had to go through DC to get there.
All right.
It was, we'd been ranked lower seed than them all year. We'd already beaten them twice, and sometimes the rankings just drive me nuts. So
I mean, that's why there's rankings. So I mean, that's why there's rankings in college football or college basketball. Or yeah.
But it was just, for me, especially coming from DC, I never had the opportunity to head coach there. So finally being a head coach, putting in the work, and it was just gratifying, you would say. It was I had to go through everything I'd been through to get to that championship game. And, it was
safe to say you're smiling after that game.
Yes. Yeah. Which I love all those guys. Nothing but love for him. Ricardo was a great coach. We miss him in the league, but he
was great. What's he up to these days?
I think he had a little baby, so that changes. Yeah. But he also bridged into like medical sales.
Okay.
Yeah. So great for him. Power play career, but
hey, there's a lot of money in that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, great memory. Absolutely. I keep on thinking I'm talking to Kelly, coach. This is weird. You need to figure out your sign in.
No, he was signed into that iPad when we did the coaches clinic too. So
do you sign into Kelly's?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, so as we're kind of going through the last little phase of this chat, I want to talk a little bit about where you see this sport moving. Since you've seen it in 2013, Atlantic Rugby is notorious for like having a lot of players. And not that great of rugby. Can we say that? Is that true? You get in the Southeast and the rugby gets a lot better. What do you think needs to happen? And you can yell at me if I'm being, but I'm just shooting straight here. I think there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of players that need coaching out there in the Northeast. It's like an untapped resource, I feel like sometimes. What do you think needs to happen to get some of those players rocking and rolling? Or is there just a lot of like players that just want to play?
I think you have that. The rugby is a gentleman's game, we'll say. So there are things that happen after games that people enjoy, and but there's people that want to compete. And I will say the biggest difference for me is when I came to Shepherd, I have a lot of resources now that I didn't have previously. Shepherd did a great job, and they do fund their program well. It's just a different ball game for me now. So I can staff I have 2 coaches, and I have 18 players. So for some people, coaches really Coach Gumby talked to me about, fundraising is a big deal. And right now where the sport's at, not everyone has a Shepherd Center backing them. So, it's an investment in the money piece, but also, I've always said, everyone has their own responsibility. So, Coach gave me an opportunity for a coach's clinic. I truly believe I have a responsibility now to help not only just develop my people, but in any way I can give back. So, potentially whether it be players, like I know you go and do clinics for people, or whether it's coaches that offer their time. I think if somebody loves the sport of rugby, if they really want wheelchair rugby to succeed, it's going to be a group effort of really, truly trying to build the league.
Yes.
So that could even be like a single player, just saying like, hey, I'm going to go play for, I think Philly last year was able to do that with Nick Springer. People going and really bringing the game and the components of the game. Because sometimes, people just don't know what they don't know. And if you never played on the spectrum, you've never had that player, Scott Stokes coached the team before me. One of the biggest assets for me as a coach when we won nationals was having Scott Stokes on the bench. He didn't love coaching, but he's a great player. He's got a lot of knowledge. So I can't say I'm a great coach because of my own. I can say I'm a great coach because of the people that I've met and the opportunities I've been afforded. So, making sure that, I'm from New England, I'm from that area. So making sure that, I reach out to that team and say, hey, I'm home with my family. Can I help you? Can I do a clinic for you? Can I, whatever that may be. But I think the sport's headed in a great direction. I think the board is doing, the new website, the branding, all those things are big. But it's also going to take some foot soldiers on the ground that are going to be willing to do the work that, care about the game.
Love it. That's great stuff. I would add to that, and I think you're absolutely right, is there's a lot of people that want to show up and play. That's great. Like we talked about with there's room at the table for everyone, but I think you're absolutely right where we need people because everyone has like a period of in their life that's like, for me it was rugby. Then you have like a family, and you like there's other things that are that are pulling you away. And we all need to give back to this beautiful sport that's given us so much. And so whatever that looks like for you, whether that's reaching out to people like Sarah or myself or Coach Gumby or Scott over in Phoenix, or, there's a ton of people across the league that want to give back, want to run clinics, want to give you tips and pointers to get better at the game. But I think it's up to the person you're looking at in the mirror to do that and have a little personal responsibility with that and say, you know what, like I can make a change, whether that's in your own little rugby team or in your state or across the country, whatever that looks like for you. But yeah, absolutely. Let's build on that for sure. As we get back into playing rugby, soon. So hopefully I'm sure it'll be an amazing year of rugby. Sarah, you've been an amazing guest. Appreciate what you're doing. It's always amazing to see able-bodied humans in our sport just championing it. It really is. Like it's something that I think we take for granted sometimes in the spinal cord injury community, is like you guys just investing in us, in our sport, in us as people. It's like Coach said, you're changing lives, and it's pretty amazing. And just, yeah, thank you very much for what you do down in Shepherd, and hopefully we'll see you on the court soon.
Absolutely.
Before you leave, I've got some rapid fire wrap up questions for you.
All right.
To rock and roll. But before we do that, I know Coach asked you about your favorite game to coach and why. What is your favorite moment in wheelchair rugby? Your favorite moment? Give me your favorite moment, and it's probably going to be like a win. But then I want your funniest moment, because I think maybe that's
my funniest are the same.
Oh, okay, perfect.
My favorite, yeah. So we were in Denver, and we went out there, and it was a Division I tournament, and we had lost a couple of our players on the way there, and we were certainly not a Division I team if we didn't have our starting players. So yeah, we went and we were playing Denver. We were doing great. We were going 1-for-1 the first quarter. So I consider that, our weekend long accomplishment. But JoJo, I don't know if anybody knows JoJo, Sam Robb on our team. He's known for being a little tinier, very elusive.
Sam. Yeah.
So that's what he's known for. But, we were just trying something different in the backcourt, and he went to throw up a pass, and Chuck Aoki just came down, and he swatted it so hard it slammed against the wall. It didn't even hit the floor first. Like, it was just like a half-court swat back in his face.
Chuck did that to me at camp, and it was it's one of those I was like, oh, good job.
Yeah, that it became a video quick. It's, it became our whole rolling into Monday, like, you're going to do something big. It's just like, nope, you're done for the week. You're just.
Yeah.
So yeah,
put it on the group thread, and it's over. That's awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's a good one. I like it. All right, hey, rapid fire wrap up here.
All right,
with Sarah Leonard, head coach of Shepherd Smash. All right, on the scale, and Talbot or whoever from Shepherd, you got to keep me honest here if she's saying it right. Mm-hmm. Scale of 1 to 10, how good how good are you at keeping secrets?
I'd put myself up there. I'd give myself a solid 8.
An 8. Okay. Yeah. So it might slip out every once in a while.
Yeah. I mean, I would say I'd be strict, because like if I'm tired, everyone knows like I'm certainly not on my A game.
Okay.
If you threw me in the back of a trunk, I don't know that I wouldn't give up a secret, something crazy. But yeah, I'm pretty loyal. Like I'm
Talbot, if she has a secret to tell, just throw her in the back of a trunk. It's fine. No. Okay, so moving right along. Ariel or Jasmine?
Jasmine.
Okay.
She's got a tiger.
Hot take. Under the Sea with Ariel. First celebrity crush.
Zach Hansen.
Zach Hansen? Who's that?
Yep. One of the Hansen brothers, the kids with the long hair.
Oh, the Bop guy?
Yeah, that was real.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. First crush, first concert. I bought so many.
I thought you were gonna say Tom Brady.
Oh no.
Okay.
No, Tom Brady wasn't until the 2000s.
Yeah. Wow. Zach Hansen. Yeah, that was you and every other girl during that time. That was, would you rather have dawn or dusk?
Dawn.
Okay. If you could travel back in time, what period are you going to? What era?
World War II. Great Depression.
Why?
I don't know. I've always my grandfather is definitely like one of the key factors in my life. Like I've just always envied that era, the work ethic, value system. And I'm an old soul, so I just feel like
well, yeah, let's go back to the Depression area. Would you rather have cake or pie?
Pie.
All right. What kind of pie?
Probably apple or pumpkin. Thanksgiving type pie.
Okay. What was your last Halloween costume?
Batman.
What? Who did Batman the best? I'm just going off script here.
I love Christian Bale, but honestly, it's because I loved Heath Ledger as the Joker. Like that is just my all-time favorite.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah. Place you most want to travel?
Portugal.
What's in Portugal?
My mom's family is 100% Portuguese, so.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, absolutely. Favorite kind of ice cream?
Coffee Oreo.
Do what now? Coffee what?
Coffee Oreo.
Coffee Oreo. That's weird. Okay.
Gotta try it.
We are learning things. Coffee and Oreo. There we go.
State drink of coffee milk.
Okay. Questions that you never really talk about. Okay. Who has it easier, men or women?
I'd say men.
Huh. Okay. Name a primate besides monkey and apes.
Oh, gorilla maybe?
I guess. I don't know.
I'm
just reading questions. I have no idea. Why can't we tickle ourselves?
Brain-body connection, I would think.
You're the neuro expert. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's not an expert answer.
If someone is double dipping at your party, what are you going to tell them?
I'm too oblivious to notice.
You wouldn't notice?
Probably not. No.
Oh, I think I would be completely grossed out, but I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't say it.
Don't tell me.
I don't like confrontation, so I wouldn't say a thing.
Probably, yeah. Like, me too.
I guess I'm not having dip anymore.
Literally.
Yeah. All right, a couple more here. What's for dinner tonight? That's what my wife and I ask each other pretty much every night, I feel like. But
I'm on a health kick, so it's like roasted veggies and chickpeas right now. It's weird. Quarantine's done weird things to me.
Roasted veggies. We do a lot of roasted veggies.
Yeah.
The roasted chickpeas got to be like roasted perfectly.
Oh yes. There's trial and error.
Yeah. Okay. Two more questions. Okay. The Godfather or Star Wars?
Godfather.
Oh, okay. Hot take. Last one. It's got to be good. Okay. Full circle. Your first story was about Australia. All right. Say something in an Australian accent.
Oh, wow. Good day, mate. That's all I got.
With that, g'day, mate.
Right? You have a way better accent.
Yeah.
I also made my voice deeper for that. It was super weird.
You did. You're like a, I don't know what you were, but whoever. Yeah, that was a little weird.
That's Australian. Get Bonnie.
Get Bonnie. The Australian one's tough though, because I always want to do like an English accent, a British accent,
literally,
and it's not good. But
no,
I just watch a lot of Saturday Night Live with what's her name, who's phenomenal at the accents. White chick with blonde hair. I forget what her name is.
Yeah, nothing. I'm thinking like Amy Schumer.
No, I think her name's like Kate something. I think it's Kate. Anyway, thank you so much for being on. Can't wait to see you out on the court. Good luck to you and the team as you're getting back into it. And really appreciate you and all you do for the sport. And great chatting. Thanks, Sarah.
Great chat, Joe. Go USA.
Right. Take care. Let's go get that gold.